Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, yay, you found me. I'm so glad. I've been waiting for you. And if you're a returning subscriber, yay, thank you for coming back. I truly appreciate your support. Anytime you like, subscribe, or even comment down below, it spreads magical YouTube fairy dust all over my channel so that people can find it. Now, my goal is to help people save money and time. The worst is when you watch a movie and you afterwards feel like, oh, I just wasted an hour and a half of my life, right? So my goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can decide whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a particular film. So today, the movie I'm reviewing is called The Tiger's Apprentice. This beautiful animation premieres exclusively on Paramount Plus on February 2nd, 2024. The film is rated PG and is an hour and 24 minutes. My overall movie review mom grade is a B. I thought it was very sweet and well done. So let me first give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll explain my grade by telling you the things that I liked, things I didn't like. I'll give you tips for parents, themes worth talking about if you watch this as a family, and funny lines, interesting lines, and then we'll finish up with recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also like. That probably sounds like it's going to be a 30-minute video. I'm going to talk fast. I know you're busy. So here's the scoop. In a nutshell, based on the popular children's book series of the same name by Lawrence Yep, The Tiger's Apprentice follows Chinese-American teenager Tom Lee, who's voiced by Sue Hu, whose life changes forever when he discovers he is part of a long lineage of magical protectors known as the Guardians. With guidance from a mythical tiger named Hu, voiced by Henry Golding, Tom trains to take on Lu, who's voiced by Yo, a force that is as powerful as a guardian, but with evil intentions to use magic to destroy humanity. To have a fighting chance against Lu, the bad guy, bad girl, actually, Tom must reunite all 12 zodiac animal warriors and master his own newly discovered powers. Okay, whew, that was a mouthful. The family-friendly film was co-directed by Paul Watling and Young Duk Jun. So here's a list of things that I really liked about this movie. First of all, the cast is terrific and includes Academy Award winner Michelle Yeoh, and Lucy Liu, Sandra Oh, Henry Golding, Patrick Gallagher, Bowen Yang, Leah Lewis, and Brandon Sue Hu. They are contributing their voice talents. I need to emphasize this is an animation, not live action. Now, I love that the movie features Hong Kong at the very beginning of the film. My daughter-in-law grew up there, and I've been there several times. The movie then jumps to San Francisco and features Chinatown in that city. Now, I grew up in the south of the Bay Area and have many memories of going to Chinatown. My parents loved going into the city, and we would go see their parades on New Year's and eat at the restaurants and buy all their trinkets. We loved Chinatown. I also really love the Chinatown in New York City. That's a great one too. I love that Asians are being featured in so many more movies lately. My grandson is now half Chinese, half American, and I'm trying to learn Mandarin so that I can speak. Well, he speaks English because he's here in America and he's only 2 years old, but so I can speak to the in-laws. The soundtrack is a lot of fun, pop in with lots of energy. The movie starts off with a colorful action sequence with interesting characters that you instantly want to know more about. There is some visual as well as spoken humor throughout the film. The animation is lovely, featuring very expressive faces, impressive details, and gorgeous colors. So dim sum. I love dim sum. And the cute shop shown in the film looked authentic with all of those really cute wicker wooden dim sum baskets, you know what they serve them in. I used to do a lot of business in China and I loved going to those dim sum shops. Sometimes you would get to look at everything in a glass case and pick out all the ones that you wanted. And sometimes they would just bring you the menu and you'd pick from there. But I was like seeing them. One of the songs featured in the movie is Eye of the Tiger, which made me laugh because one of the main characters is a tiger, and I just love that song. We learn about qi in general and qi lines that I think is always interesting. Eastern medicine is so different from American medicine. And I think that the both cultures, the both philosophies can definitely learn and benefit from one another. My twin sister is a nurse practitioner, and she took a group of nursing students to China one time, and they got to visit a hospital and work with the nurses there. And then they got to visit another area where they were learning a lot about Eastern medicine. And she came home and was telling me about all of the things that she had learned, which I now share with all of my nursing students. Anyway, that was a little side note. The animation itself, as I mentioned, is lovely, colorful, creative. The whole film is just very enjoyable and pleasant to the eye, pleasing to the eye. Now, with all of that praise, there were just a few things that I didn't like or thought could have been done differently or better, maybe. For example, not all of the humor lands. There's lots of bickering. All of these zodiac characters are constantly bantering and often bickering and quibbling with one another. And, that's supposed to be funny. It'd be funny too if they were just cleverly playing with each other. But in most of the scenes, they're really fighting with each other. I don't know. There's a part at the end of the movie that's supposed to be super sad because an important character actually dies. But then magically, without explanation mostly, the consequences are reversed. Yay, happy ending. It would have been fun to learn more about all of the zodiac animals, but I get it. The story focuses on just a few. It makes sense because there really isn't enough time in the whole movie to cover all of them, but still, it just would have been fun. When I traveled through China, I would go on Chinese New Year many years in a row, and they always have special food that they serve, and the whole country just gets decked out with merchandising and products and billboards and entertainment and just stuff everywhere, all about that animal of the year. And in their culture, you are born under one of these zodiac animals, and therefore you possess those unique qualities. And I just find that to be really fascinating, and they embrace it wholeheartedly. Now, let me give you some tips for parents because it's an animation and a family movie. There are some scary looking green monsters that might frighten younger children at the beginning of the movie. Kids will learn about the Chinese zodiacs, which I think is great. There is animated violence with various weapons, and I was going to say hand-to-hand combat, but a lot of them are animals, so they don't necessarily have hands, but you know what I mean. Lots of destruction. People and creatures are in perilous situations many times throughout the entire film. Potential profanity is replaced by silly phrases like, holy shrimp fried rice. And I loved that. I mean, make it a family-friendly movie. There is no need to have profanity, and to play with it like that kind of tells kids you can use other words to express frustration, or I said that word weird, frustration or anger or fear, right? Rather than full-on profanity. That's the mom in me coming out. Now, let me share some of the themes that are illustrated really well. Unlock the power within. Family legacy, good versus evil, the world of magic, knowing who you are, becoming who you want to be, losing loved ones, grief, teamwork, and protecting those you love. So whenever I watch movies, I always write down funny lines and interesting lines with the sole purpose of sharing them with you so that you can kind of get a taste for the dialogue and the script writing quality. So I have all of them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, but I'll share some of them with you right now. So Brandon Suhu voices a character named Tom, and he says to a tiger when they first meet and they're not getting along, he's like, oh, it's on, fur face. So I guess you could say there is a little bit of bullying and name calling in the movie. Sometimes it's playful and sometimes it's not really necessary, and it kind of sets a bad example for our kids. Another line that he says is, this is it? This is barely a petting zoo, when he first meets all of these animal characters in the zodiac calendar. And then there's a cute little character who's a rabbit who's voiced by Leah Lewis, and she says, no explosions indoors. Now, all of the characters, all of the Zodiac characters have different personalities, but as I mentioned earlier, we don't really get to see enough to really celebrate each one of those characters. So I would have loved to have had more of that. And then there were a lot of interesting lines. For example, we hear this line spoken by Grandma, Mrs. Lee, who's voiced by Kang Hwa Tan, and she says, "You don't have to know to understand." And I thought that that was really interesting because I think we all do have that Jiminy Cricket inside of us, that intuition or that self sense that we know something, even though it doesn't necessarily make sense to us or we don't understand it fully. And that kind of seems like an Eastern philosophy as well, that's fully embraced. So, a funny line that the grandma says is, "We don't have to fight. Besides, you're not very good at it." And then Henry Golding, as I mentioned, voices the tiger. The tiger says, "Not everything is what it seems." And we see that illustrated in several different ways. And then I love Grandma again. She says, "People are inherently good." And wow, we sure need that message in today's society. Everybody is so angry and easily offended and on guard and distrusting of one another. And I've seen that just surge in my own lifetime. But I think people really are inherently good and they really are trying to do what they believe to be the best. Even if we disagree, they believe that that's the best, I guess. All right, so let me give you some recommendations for some movies I instantly thought of that I think you're also going to get a kick out of. The first one is called The Monkey King. Now, I recently did a review of that one, so definitely check that out. There is a huge legend about this Monkey King in China. You'll be walking down a street in China and you'll see people dressed up like the Monkey King, and you'll see it everywhere in merchandising and products and signs, and it's just a big part of their national history. It's a legend, so it's not really history, but a part of their culture. Anyway, and so this movie is a cute animation that's playful and teaches you a little bit about that. Okay, and then another movie is called Wish Dragon. It also takes place in beautiful China, and you get to see a lot of the beauty of China. Truly, I really love it. I've been there many, many times, and it is just a spectacular country. Now, the government is a different thing altogether, but the country and the people are just really beautiful. Anyway, and so you get to experience that in the movie The Wish Dragon. And then the third movie I thought of is called Raya and the Last Dragon. Now, it's not specifically in China, it's about Indonesia, but again, it's a creature trying to help a human or several humans. And it's an animation, very family friendly, beautiful to look at. So check it out. I've done reviews of all of those movies. So when you finish watching this movie, watch the one that I queue up right afterwards, and then you can do searches for the other ones that I just mentioned if you haven't seen those before. I think you'll enjoy those. All right, that's it. When you get a minute, run over to Instagram. You can find me as Movie Review Mom, but you can also find me as Trina Boice, which is my author platform there, where you can learn about my books, my online courses, my products, and all my other shenanigans. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.